like to call this village board meeting of Thursday, September 21, 2023 to order. Will Ms. Jazz please take the roll?
President Coker?
Yes.
Trustee Schmidt?
Here.
Trustee Siddiqui?
Here.
Trustee Light?
Here.
Trustee Meritato?
Here.
Trustee Pojek?
Here.
Trustee Schroeder?
Here.
Please stand and join me in saying pledge of allegiance.
To the flag
Of the United States of America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we go on to public discussion of agenda item, I would like to remind everyone of some basic rules and before. Ms. Jazz, will you please give the rules?
Rules of decorum for the governing body. Members of the governing body shall not use or make inappropriate, vulgar, derogatory words or offensive comments. Members shall maintain a civil and courteous manner and tone. Members of the governing body shall only speak to the matter currently under consideration by the mayor and council. During presentations, discussion, or debate, members of the governing body shall refrain from communicating amongst each other, giving attention and due respect to the speaker or council member addressing the body. While a member of the governing body has the floor, members of council and members of the public shall not interrupt the speaker unless the speaker is ruled out of order. Members violating any rules of the decorum may be ruled out of order by the mayor. An individual violating the rules of decorum may be removed from the meeting in accordance with Robert's Rule of Order. Rules of decorum for the public. Each speaker will be given 5 minutes to speak during the public comment period. Each speaker will direct his or her comments to the members of the governing body and not to any individual member or other individuals present unless a question is directed to him or her by a member of the governing body. Each speaker will refrain from personal attacks, foul or abusive language, and will maintain a civil and courteous manner and tone. Members of the audience will respect the rights of others and will not create noise or other disturbances that will disrupt or disturb the meeting. Individuals violating any rules of the decorum may be ruled out of order by the mayor. An individual violating the rules of decorum may be removed from the meeting at the direction of the mayor.
I have a quick question on those. Does it apply to the mayor?
Community
Also,
announcement.
why
Stop.
I'm
Stop.
asking, I have
Stop.
a question.
Stop.
Don't yell.
Let me
I just have a question.
proceed. Let me proceed.
Proceed whatever.
Trustee Schmidt, please.
I have a first question because I am really not comfortable with these rules. Who made these rules? How can a taxpayer can be removed by mayor? Mr. Peter, can you tell me
Most of these rules are Robert's rules.
most of this, but what about the removing?
The removal of a member of the audience is an extreme measure. I would say that it can't be done at the sole discretion of the mayor. We have to take the board to do that.
Okay.
But that's a remedy of last resort.
And also about the governing body, that's the same thing, it's written over there.
It's also can be done, but it's a matter of
So it
extreme.
should be written over there in the bracket or something.
And it's
not by
according to
just by-
Robert's rules, and Robert's rules, it's a.
Yeah, but by the board, you
Right.
just mentioned that.
By the board.
Yeah, not by the.
And he does indicate in accordance with
That
Robert's.
sent a very wrong message to the public.
Read law,
Yes.
read law. This is open meeting act. The chairman, presiding officer has discretion. This is state law, you can read and then answer. I have read that.
You do have control of the meeting, I
Yes.
agree with that.
And it's for disruptive people, not for regular people.
The taxpayers are the boss. You cannot remove those people from this. That's
Listen,
that's-
you are helping
We are in
your
the United
relative.
States of America.
And for last
And
21
we
years,
believe
you
in
helping
the
that guy who
freedom
was
of
making
speech.
village money.
That's the
And now
first
you
and
are talking
fundamental
for
part.
him.
We cannot intimidate people by these rules.
Stop now. Mr.
No.
Schmidt, please.
Peter, I have rules that are in my office, and can you make a copy of us, what you're referring to?
No.
So we all have that?
It's a matter of last resort, and there's a lot of processes that need to be followed. So it's not just, you can just remove somebody. There's a bunch of processes. That's why it's a matter of last resort. Nobody ever wants to remove a member of the public from the meeting unless that member of the public qualifies to be removed. So we're not even talking about removing anybody. We're just asking that everybody follow the rules, respect one another. And the chair is the head of the meeting, so if he can rule you out of order, if he's asking you, you're off topic, and this applies to the chair himself. If you're off topic, you're not supposed to be talking about that matter. So he is correct, those are the rules, the Robert's Rules of Order. And that's the key, order. We're here to have a public meeting, we're not here to have a fight and act like children. So just keep that in mind. There's no outbursts from the audience. The audience only participates at the board's discretion. So I think if we all act like adults, we shouldn't have any problems today. And I think we're all adults also. I think we can handle it.
Community announcement, Trustee Schmidt, please.
Please note an important address change for the September water bills. The mailing address is now Village of Glendale Heights, P.O. Box 8297, Carroll Stream, Illinois 60197-8297. Failure to update to this new address may result in the delay of your payment being applied to your account. If you have any questions about this address change, please contact the Water Billing Division at 630-260-6000. Thank you.
You're welcome. Trustee Disartuzzi.
Stop by Veterans Memorial Park on Thursdays for Glendale Heights Seasonal Market. Shop for local produce, crafts, and more from locally sourced vendors. The market runs every Thursday with a new time of 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you would like to be a vendor or for more information, please contact Tanya Mako at 630-909-5459. Mark your calendars. The annual Family Health and Safety Fair will be Wednesday, October 4th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Sports Hub. There will be free activities and stations for everyone, including the teddy bear clinic, flu shots if you are 18 years and older, health screenings, child ID cards, and more. For more information, contact Jessica at 630-909-5123.
Trustee Light, please.
All right, if you're looking for something special to do this upcoming Sunday, the Village of Glendale Heights is gearing up for the 40th Annual Show and Shine Car Show and Swap Meet at Camera Park, September 24th from 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. There will be 18 classes of vehicles on display, along with swap meet, food, music, and a whole lot more. If you're interested in registering a vehicle or signing up to be a swap meet vendor or crafter, please visit www.glendeleheights.org/carshow to download a registration form. And if you'd like to enter a car the day of, feel free, you can come on in and we'll accept you up until about 11 o'clock or so, if you want to register that day. Next one, if you just finished cleaning out your basement, attic, garage, or had someone move out and take some of their stuff and leave a lot behind, and you're looking for a place to sell your stuff, then join us for the annual community garage sale this Sunday, September 24th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Camera Park. If you have nothing to sell, then come on out and shop for bargains from many different sellers. For registration information, contact the Sports Hub at 630-260-6060.
And Trustee Light, just for the record, the garage sale is sold out.
It is sold out.
Correct.
Wow, that's fantastic.
But that means a lot of people can come and get stuff, so.
Right, right, exactly.
Big dumpsters later.
Done.
That's it, I'm done.
Okay, Ms. Jess.
With the arrival of the fall season, the Village of Glendale Heights, along with Glenside and Bloomingdale Fire Protection Districts, would like to remind residents that it is unlawful for any uncontrolled burning of landscape waste. Fires in approved containers like fire pits are allowed as long as they are at least 15 feet from any structure, including fences and picnic tables. For more information, please contact the Glenside Fire Protection District at 630-668-5323 or Bloomingdale Fire Protection District at 630-894-9080. Thank you.
Trustee Maritato, please.
Coming out to Heritage Park for some fishing fun on Saturday, September 30th, from 9 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. at the annual Cops and Bobbers Fishing Derby in conjunction with Harvest Fest. Hosted by the Village of Glendale Heights and the FOP Lodge 52. Try your luck at catching some of the trophy fish like catfish, bluegills, and bass that live in Lake Bucera. Registration begins at 9 a.m. and the derby begins promptly at 9:30 a.m. We will conclude the fishing derby with a trophy presentation and prizes. The fishing derby is a catch and release event. For more information, please contact the Sports Hub at 630-260-6060. Celebrate the fall season at Heritage Park on Saturday, September 30th, following the fishing derby from noon to 4 p.m. at the annual Harvest Fest. Welcome autumn arrivals with music, craft, hay rides, chili cook-off, bag tournaments, food and drinks, and much more. This fall event is fun for the entire family, activities for everyone. For more information, please contact the Sports Hub at 630-260-6060. Thank you.
You're welcome. Trustee Padu.
Come on out to Camera Park now through September 24th for Oktoberfest, sponsored by Alka Inc. and the Village of Glendale Heights. Enjoy authentic German food and drink, live bands, dancing, entertainers, and other family-friendly activities. Enter for a chance to win a trip to Germany, which will include a special brewery tour. For more information, including hours, entertainment schedule, and admission fees, visit www.glendaleheightsoktoberfest.com or call 815-715-9461.
Trustee Schroeder, please.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The next coffee and chat with the village president and board will be on Saturday, October the 7th at the Center for Senior Citizens. It's from 10 a.m. to noon. If you're unable to attend and you have any comments, suggestions, or questions for the village president or the village board, please call the village president's office anytime at 630-909-5302. Thank you.
Okay. Tonight we have a very important recognition. The village very own public affairs coordinator, David Ganti, was one of 3 finalists from the country of 2023 3CMA Survey Award. Here to announce how he did is acting village administrator, Dr. Flint. Mr. Flint.
Thank you, Mayor. So, last week, if you noticed, David wasn't here. David was in Orlando attending a conference to receive an award from 3CMA, which is City County Communications and Marketing Association. We belong to this group. We belong to this organization for many years. They were giving out their Savvy Awards, which is their annual award contest, and David submitted a photograph. That photograph that David took out in front of the Veterans Park. He's making Zach Pugh famous. Zach's the model. But David submitted this picture into the category of single-use photography. The press release from 3CMA, the Savvy Awards, recognize outstanding local government achievements in communications, public sector marketing, and resident government relationships. The Savvy salutes skilled and effective city, county, agency, or district professionals who have creatively planned and carried out successful innovations in communications and marketing. Over 875 entries were submitted, not in just this category, but in all the categories. David, to his excellence in photography, took first place. The commentary from the judges is pretty impressive. The photo is perfectly framed, the streaks of blue light are perfectly captured around the officer's silhouette, and the specks of rain, snow just enhance the visual and set the scene of a chilly night, a fantastic image. Beautifully captures the meaning of service and emotional sacrifices it can take. There's a great example of a photo that tells a story. Knowing this photo started out as a planned shoot, then evolved into a much deeper meaning, makes the photo that much more poignant. The unexpected addition of the weather also adds depth to the photo that is unexpected and effective. Great work. So this is the award that David received down in Orlando, prominently displayed in David's office, as it should be. And we're here to recognize David for not just the great work he does for the village as our communications manager, but everything he's doing to try and make even just the front cover of the police annual report look spectacular. Because that was the front cover of the police annual report. And David's going to come here and explain a little bit of how long it took to take that photograph. Congratulations, David.
So this was not originally planned to be at Veterans Memorial Park. The original photo we had planned was actually to be in front of the police department. We did a few photos in front of the police department that are similar in this nature. But Maureen Pope with the police department actually suggested, why don't we go to Veterans Memorial Park? Zach, being a veteran as well with the Air Force, agreed to it. And what's so meaningful about this photo is Zach actually was at the processions for the fallen Chicago police officer who was killed in duty. So Zach was at those processions first thing in the morning. So he's already exhausted, living on caffeine drinks and Red Bulls, I'm sure. But he agreed to come out this evening still for this photo shoot, knowing also that, oh, by the way, it's about 30 degrees out and it's snowing, sleeting, raining all at the same time. So we walked over to Veterans Memorial Park and we were able to do a couple of shots, and I had an idea in my head of how I wanted this photo to look, and it came out even better in actuality than what was in my head. So really, I mean, it's a thank you to Zach for spending his time coming out that same evening after a very long, emotional day, as you guys can all imagine. And then also for Maureen to help kind of arrange everything to put this all together. So it was a very emotional day. And this photo obviously has a bigger meaning than just highlighting Veterans Memorial Park or a police department, but a representation of all the police that are out there every day who are putting their lives at risk every day. So this photo really means a lot to, I think, so many people when it comes to public safety, and especially in Glendale Heights. So.
Mayor, our presenter for number 3 isn't here yet, so if we could skip to number 4.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Oh, it's not here, so skip number 4 also. Okay. Last month, the village hosted the 2023 Charity Golf Classic at Glendale Lakes Golf Course. With us tonight, we have Ms. Jennifer Farrell. She will be doing a check presentation. Ms. Farrell.
Hi, everybody. This year, the 23rd annual Glendale Heights Charity Golf Classic was held on Friday, August 25th. We had 64 golfers who enjoyed a great day of weather, golf, food, and laughs while raising money for 6 worthwhile charities. A big thank you to all the sponsors and volunteers who helped us make this event another major success. Over the past 23 years, the Charity Classic has now raised over $531,000 to a variety of local charities. We would like to thank our sponsors for this year's event. The platinum sponsorships were Storino, Romello, and Durkin, Christopher B. Burke Engineering, Ivy Hall. Gold sponsorships were Bloomingdale Bank and Trust, Trotter and Associates, and our silver sponsors were Chicago Blower, Glenside Fire, Village of Glendale Heights, U Chicago Medicine Advent Health Glen Oaks, Republic Services. Our bronze sponsorship was FOP Lodge 52, The beverage cart was sponsored by Wingstop and Dunkin'. Lunch was sponsored by Ivy Hall. A special thank you to Clyde's Donuts and Pepsi for donating product for the event this year. This year, 6 local charities were selected to receive the proceeds from the Charity Golf Classic. I'm going to list them. First one is Northern Illinois Food Bank. Then we have the Family and Faith Food Pantry, Glendale Heights Christmas Sharing Program, the FOP Lodge 52 Community Enrichment Fund, the Glendale Heights Chamber of Commerce Scholarship Fund, and the Glendale Heights Foundation. A grand total of $18,000 was raised and will be equally distributed amongst the 6 charities. Mayor Coker is here to present the checks to the charities. I'm going to have each of the a representative from each of the charities come up, receive the check, get a photo, and maybe say a few words about what the money is used for. So the first check is being presented to Northern Illinois Food Bank for $3,000. Accepting on behalf of the food bank is Hester Burry.
Thank you so much, everybody that supported the golf outing. As you can imagine, we can use this money. We are seeing 50% more people needing food assistance than we were before the pandemic. And at the food bank, every dollar that we receive provides $8 worth of food. So thank you.
The second check is being presented to Family and Faith Food Pantry for $3,000. Accepting on behalf of the food pantry is Pastor Steve Cass and Brian Radcliffe.
Want to thank you so much for your generosity to the food pantry here in Glendale Heights. We can't take 5 loaves and 2 fish and feed 5,000, but we can receive food from Tony's, from Jewel, from Target, from Meijer, from the Northern Illinois Food Bank, who was just here, from the community, from so many people. We're able to feed people from all over the world. From Asia, from the Middle East, from the United States, from Central and South America. We're able to feed old and young, regardless of their background. We're able to give people vegetables, fruit, milk, bread, bakery, diapers, meat, pasta, snacks, canned food, a whole host of things. We welcome food from anyone. We welcome volunteers from anywhere, and we will give food to everyone who's in need. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pastor Cass, members of the council, and village residents. I am Brian Ratliff. I am the coordinator of the Neighborhood Food Pantry at Family and Faith Church. I just want to say that I can't really build on what Pastor Cass has said, but I have been a resident of Glendale Heights for 57 years. And tonight is probably one of the proudest moments for me to be able to, through my work, give back to the village that I love. Thank you.
The third check is being presented to the Village of Glendale Heights Christmas Sharing Fund for $3,000. We don't have anyone to accept on behalf of the Christmas Sharing Fund, so we'll make sure they get the money. But the Christmas Sharing Program is a great program that the village does, and it helps families that are unable to afford basic Christmas gifts for their families around Christmas holidays, so we'll make sure that they get that. The fourth check this evening is being presented to the Glendale Heights Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 52 Community Enrichment Fund for $3,000. Accepting on behalf of the organization is Nate Shevchek.
Oh, I thought that was the picture.
On behalf of FOP Lodge 52, we obviously have Cops and Bobbers, our event next Saturday. Great event, great community outreach. Everyone stops by, we appreciate it. We always like people coming, staying for Harvest Fest as well. And then we also, one of our other bigger events is the Christmas with the neighborhood children when we do Shop with a Cop or Helping with Heroes that we do in partnership with Target. So those are our primary events that we do in addition to smaller ones throughout the year. We very much appreciate it. Thank you.
The fifth check this evening is being presented to the Glendale Heights Chamber of Commerce for their scholarship fund for $3,000. Accepting on behalf of this is Chamber of Commerce President April Hieronymus.
Hi, thanks you guys. Charity Golf Classic's always a really nice event for our community, and this money helps local kids here in Glendale Heights with some scholarship money. So this year we were able to give away 2 scholarships to local kids, April Breedy and Peyton Fermansky. They're both attending Illinois State University. April is going for laboratory sciences, and Peyton is going for education, and she's going to specialize in special ed. So we love to see these kids grow and they come out of our community. Thank you so much.
That's great for Illinois State as a former Redbird.
Go Redbirds.
With some others in the room. The sixth and final check this evening is being presented to the Glendale Heights Foundation for $3,000. Jeanette Wilson will be accepting the check on behalf.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. It's very hard sometimes to do fundraising, and this money goes to only residents of the village. And we help them in emergencies, if they need funds for electric bills, water bills, medication, things like that. And they can contact us through our website. Everything is in the village newsletter. We have a P.O. box, and they fill out the papers. And we have 7 people who go over this, and if there's something that we can't help them with, we know where to send them to. So we appreciate this. Thank you.
That's it for the check presentations. We hope to see everyone for the 2024 Charity Classic. So information about that will be coming out over the winter or early spring. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Farrell, for the wonderful job you do for the village and residents of the golf club. Is there anyone in the public that would like to address this board on an agenda item only? From public? None. We will proceed. Item 11 needs to be removed from the consent agenda due to delay in attorney paperwork. Can I get a motion, please? Okay, it's just number 11 is you don't. You have the consent agenda before you. Public comment, I announce, nobody. Okay, so again, I will announce, tonight we have a very, is there anyone in the public that would like to address this board on an agenda item only? None. You have the consent agenda before you. Would acting village administrator Doug Flint please read the consent agenda?
Thank you, Mayor. 1, approval of the regular board meeting minutes of September 7th, 2023. 2, approval of the committee of the whole meeting minutes of September 7th, 2023. 3, approval of the accounts payable listing of September 21st, 2023 in the amount of $2,911,414.46. 4, resolution authorizing the issuance of a notice of award for the Seams Park Path and Parking Lot Improvement Project. 5, a resolution authorizing the issuance of a notice of award and authorizing execution of a contract for the purchase and planting of approximately 67 parkway trees in the village of Glendale Heights. 6, a resolution authorizing the issuance of a notice of award and authorizing the execution of a contract for the printing of the 2023-2024 community newsletter and the senior activity guide. 7, a resolution regarding the release of closed session minutes. 8, a motion to approve pay request number 1 to IHC Construction Companies LLC for the wastewater treatment plant phosphorus removal upgrades project, total amount not to exceed $1,196,190. 9, a motion to approve pay request number 1 to Baller Construction Company for the water supplies facility rehabilitation project in a total amount not to exceed $78,372. 10, a motion to approve pay request number 2 to Trotter Associates Incorporated for the Mill Pond Lift Station Improvement Project, total amount not to exceed $36,243. 11 has been removed. 12 is approval of consent items.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended? Trustee Schmidt
So moved.
and Trustee Schroeder.
Second.
Discussion. Yes.
Doug, I have a question on number 4, the Sims Park path and parking improvement.
Yes.
When is that gonna start? Do you-
We're
do you know
hopeful.
of
We're hopeful. They're still completing the soil testing. We're hopeful that it starts next couple weeks, and that it's it's completed by end of the paving season.
Oh, okay,
But the goal is to get it started as soon as possible.
because it needs it.
100%.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Trustees? None. Discussion, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Schroeder,
Trustee Schroeder.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Trustee Schmidt,
Yes.
Trustee Siddiqui,
Yes.
Trustee Light,
Yes.
Trustee Meritato,
Yes.
Trustee Pojek,
Yes.
The consent agenda as amended is approved. Old business, there is none. New business, 1, a motion to waive first reading on new business items 2 to 3. Is there a motion to waive first reading on new business item 2 to 3? Trustee Pat
So moved.
and Trustee Light.
Second.
Discussion. None, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Pojek,
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder,
Yes.
Trustee Schmidt,
Yes.
Trustee Siddiqui,
Yes.
Trustee Light,
Yes.
Trustee Meritato,
Yes.
The motion to waive first reading on new business items 2 to 3 is approved. 2, an ordinance to waive bid and accept the proposal of Utility Services Company Incorporated for the furnishing of storage tank rehabilitation and maintenance services for the West Burdette 500,000 gallon pedestrian tank project and to authorize the execution of a contract by and between Utility Service Company Incorporated and the Village of Glendale Heights, LNI. Request to waive first reading ordinance 2023-64. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-64? Trustee Light.
So moved.
Trustee Schmidt.
Second.
Discussion. None, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Light,
Yes.
Trustee Meritato,
Yes.
Trustee Pojek,
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder,
Yes.
Trustee Schmidt,
Yes.
Trustee Siddiqui,
Yes.
The motion to adopt ordinance 2023-64 is approved. 3, an ordinance to waive bid and accept the proposal of Vans Enterprises Limited and authorizing the execution of a notice of award and contract for the Nazareth Park baseball diamonds Improvement Project, request to waive first reading ordinance 2023-65. Trustee Schmidt,
So moved.
second, who's second? Trustee Pojek,
Second.
discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. So is this the one which we approved, like 1.2 million for Nasus Lodge? Is this the same or is this different?
So this is a part of the projects that include the Cameron Park soccer field, and this is the piece that was the baseball diamonds at Nazos. And so the piece for the soccer fields has already begun, unfortunately not as quickly as we'd like. Actually, they're supposed to break ground hopefully at the start of October. This is the actual work, and this was the smaller project that we talked about. So this is just the money that was set aside for upgrading the ball diamonds at Nazos.
So this one is not a part of the one which we approved?
This is the same conversation, but this is the separate part of that. We did the soccer earlier in the year.
Yeah,
and now
how
we're
much
actually
we
doing
put
baseball.
for soccer?
960,
yeah.
980 something.
And
So-
that didn't go to the bid, that goes to the state,
That was the passion contract.
correct? And this is not?
This is not.
So this is for 81,395 with whom?
Bands.
Okay. And this is the only bid we got for that?
No, we received 2 bids. This is the lowest and most responsible bid.
What's the other
Of two.
one?
It was the other company.
Yeah.
Let me, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. Hold on a second. It's gonna take me a second to find that, sorry.
Take your time, you know.
The other company was Sports Fields.
And what was their bid?
For the exact same thing. Because we lumped the whole project together. $82,600.
Okay.
I believe that's quick math, but I believe I've got that right.
Yes, yes, Mr. Pojek.
Keith, what are they gonna do to the fields? And this was brought up before, were some of our employees gonna do part of the work?
So this is getting the company to come in and they're gonna put in new home plate, they're putting in new batters boxes, they are taking out on the east field all of the grass and all of the product that's in there and relaying those fields. Same thing on the west field, they'll take all and put all new infield in. That's the basic of the big stuff that they're doing, mound work, additional work, just on the fields to upgrade them.
Because in this discussion months ago, our employees were possibly gonna do some work on it to help out, cut the cost.
So when we originally started this, we were looking at putting turf fields in, and that's when we stepped back, and due to cost, we didn't choose to go in that way. So that's why we're having a company come in and do what they do best.
Thanks, Keith.
Yep.
Anybody else? A roll call vote, please.
Trustee Meritato?
Yes.
Trustee-
Yes.
Trustee Pojek?
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder?
Yes.
Trustee Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Siddiqui?
Yes.
Trustee Light?
Yes.
The motion to adopt ordinance 2023-65 is approved. We now go on to public discussion of agenda items. Again, please keep in mind the rules Ms. Jazz read earlier. These apply to all public comments. Is there anyone in the public that would like to address this board on an agenda item only? Yes, ma'am. State your name and address, please.
Kim Darling, Greenbrier. Keith, we discussed this before, so nothing, and Doug, nothing's being done to those. The mound is getting done, the batter's box is getting done, we're not having any turf put in there. What about the, total mind blank there, where the kids sit?
The dugouts?
Dugouts, thank you.
No, there's not enough money yet for dugouts.
Okay, so none of the dugouts on either one of them is gonna get fixed?
No, not at when we looked into putting in cinder block ones, ridiculously expensive.
Okay, what about some tarps or something?
Tarps are up.
Tarps are up.
On both fields?
Yep.
I seen one up on Nazos. I mean, on east, but I didn't see them up on west.
As
They're
far
there
as I
on
know,
both?
they're up on both,
Okay.
unless somebody's taking them down, but as far as I know, they're up on both.
Glenside's season's over now, so.
Right. Okay, so they could be taken down. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else from public residents? None? Executive session, there is none. Now I need motion to adjourn. Trustee Smith,
Motion to adjourn.
second trustee Schroeder.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
President Coker?
Yes.
Trustee Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Siddiqui?
Yes.
Trustee Light?
Yes.
Trustee Meritato?
Yes.
Trustee Pojek?
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder?
Yes.
This meeting is adjourned. Trustee Schroeder, you have the committee of the whole meeting.
I would like to call this committee of the whole meeting of Thursday, September the 21st, 2023 to order. Will the clerk please note who is present?
So noted.
Thank you. Does anyone have any additions or deletions? Yes, Mike.
Policy.
Chester.
Astound.
Pardon?
Astound, A-S-T-O-U-N-D.
Okay. Anyone else?
Access.
That's it?
Access, did you say?
Yeah, access.
Access, Mary.
Access.
All right. Okay, all right. Is there anyone in the public who would like to address this board on committee recommendations only? All right, we'll continue. Are you coming forward?
I think so. I didn't, hear last.
It's only for from the plan commission. It's only from the recommendations for the plan commission at this point. It's,
doing a whole thing afterwards?
it's public comment of committee recommendation. There will be another public comment. Yes. You're welcome. And then Mary, just so you know, under B1, committee recommendations, number 1, the petitioner has withdrawn the request. So there's no reason to make a recommendation. They've withdrawn the request for,
Did you want me to skip it completely?
we can skip it, it's been withdrawn.
Which one is it? Number one?
The first one for the shed,
All right,
so we can move on to number 2.
okay, and we'll continue on with number 2? All right.
And then
A recommendation to approve an application for conditional use for a drive-through restaurant, a variation from Title 11, Chapter 6, Section 11-6-11D-4A, to increase the maximum number of wall signs per business establishment from 1 to 3 along the west evaluation of the Jimmy John's tenant space and a variation from Title 11, Chapter 6, signs, Section 11-6-11D-4D, to increase the maximum number of wall signs per business establishments from 1 to 2 for a future commercial tenant space number 2 for Heritage Group LLC, D-B-A, Jimmy John's, located at 2065 Bloomingdale Road. And this was written by a Philadelphia lawyer. I'm only kidding, because there was so much here. Does anybody have any? Yes, Mike.
I'll make a motion to move it to the board with a recommendation to concur.
Bill,
Second.
any questions? Comments? All right, we'll send it to the board with a we should have a roll call. Roll call vote?
Trustee Siddiqui?
Yes.
Trustee Light?
Yes.
Trustee Meritato?
Yes.
Trustee Pojek?
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder?
Yes.
President Coker?
Yes.
Trustee Schmidt?
Yes.
All right, we'll send this to the board with a recommendation to concur. Okay? Discussion regarding committed discussion regarding amendments to the real estate transfer inspection program. This is Director.
Yes, Trustee Schroeder. Actually, Administrator Flint, I don't know how long this discussion's gonna go on. Do you wanna have anything faster, maybe go before this one, or?
No.
Okay. So at the last committee of the whole, I prompted the board that staff was looking to make recommendations to change the real estate transfer inspection program. I transmitted all of those documents to the board 2 weeks ago. I hope you've all had a chance to review it. So by and large, what staff is looking to achieve is simplify the transfer inspection process. One of the most common concerns or complaints that I've heard in my tenure here was the difficulty in conducting real estate transfers, sales. And so I conducted an extensive analysis, and I'm gonna try not to rehash too much of what I went over at the last committee of the whole, but I conducted an extensive analysis and found that we are in fact probably the most conservative in terms of application of the codes for the transfer inspection and how we administer those compared to regional communities, basically northern DuPage County of like size. So as we step through this process, we provided some alternatives. One was to remain status quo. Another alternative was to completely abolish the program, and one was to find an intermediate solution. The recommendation that I set forth is to find an intermediate solution. The real estate transfer inspection program in its current version has been around for 20 years. A lot of people have committed a lot of work to try to improve the housing stock of the village. And I wasn't here certainly, but based on all of the staff feedback I've gotten, it's really worked, and it's really worked well. And so I don't want to overlook that fact as we discuss these changes. With that said, policy and how we apply some of our different programs, they should be viewed through the lens of the times. And what was appropriate 20 years ago might not still be appropriate today. So that's kind of how I approach this. Formally, the recommendation that we ended up setting forth was to modify the transfer inspection checklist. That's kind of where we landed. So about 2 years ago, the board had a subcommittee, and the recommendation at the time was to modify the requirements to have some things that were effectively still inspected but not required, and we notified people. What I'm proposing is moving completely away from sort of that look for everything model and try to focus on life safety, property maintenance, the most important components about what we're trying to preserve with our housing stock. And so one other point that maybe should be considered as a part of these recommendations is that, and I know that some members of the board have represented that they're looking to completely move away from the program. One thing that we weren't completely sure of, and I think it requires a tempered approach, is the impact to revenues that the village has, right? So we get a fairly significant amount of permit activity that's generated through this process, and we're staffed to match that permit activity. And so we have to be mindful or careful of complete abolishment because many of our processes, our operations, they're all intertwined and interlinked, and staff support is a part of that. And so we didn't want to completely move away from the program, and the next year look at 20% reduction in permit revenues and say, oh, maybe we shouldn't have been so aggressive. So this approach is an intermediate one, and I think that the way we want to view it is, let's try it for a year, let's see how it works. We can reconvene, see if we're meeting the needs of the citizens and the residents, as well as still being mindful of our fiduciary responsibilities and operating the village in the way that the residents have come to expect. So that's kind of the high-level overview. I'm happy to take any questions or any specifics at this time.
Before I have something to ask him, Mike, I just want to tell you something. In regards to those revenue stamps, I did call surrounding villages in this particular area. Some of them don't have these transfer stamps cost. And I know you said you don't want to remove it completely, but should we sort of consider maybe reducing it, and maybe that would help?
I think it's important to draw a distinction that my recommendation does not impact the transfer stamp or the transfer tax. It is the inspections and the permit activity that follows the inspections. The transfer stamp is not something that I would.
But that is under your jurisdiction, isn't it?
No, it's
Oh,
not.
it's not?
No, that would.
Oh, I apologize. I thought it was.
That would probably be brought forward by Administrator Flynn.
All right, very good. Thank you. Pat, you wanted to say something?
Doug, that committee, I was chairman of that committee 2 years ago. We didn't dissolve that committee, did we?
That committee dissolved on its own once the committee completed its actions.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the board to bring back that committee. And we can have residents that were on that committee look at this and help us out to see what's best we can do.
Pat,
I don't know, what's the board
Pat,
think of that?
you can come to my office, we can discuss, and I will appoint you again, chair, I mean.
Doug,
So
I'm speaking to
you had a committee that was made to hear these. As Mike said, the committee heard the first round of recommendations and they paired what was the transfer inspection program from where it was to what it is. I don't know, it does make sense to bring the same people back who heard it the first time to hear it the second time.
Correct. I have a, so I believe, Pat, what you are asking is because I think, Mike, what Pat is recommending is that we really can't discuss all those things in the board. So we had a committee, I think 2 years ago, in which we goes one by one and we involve our residents also in that committee. So we can reconvene that committee again and discuss that in details. I believe we can, it's the same committee, that's what you're talking about, Pat?
Yeah, because that's what we did before. We ran down the whole list. And everybody had their own opinion, checking what they think we should eliminate, what we should keep. And then at the end, we just put it all together and we came up with something, what we did. And I think that'd be a good idea to do it again with the same committee.
So
If it's the will of the board, that's no problem. It's pretty, I would suggest well vetted at this stage, but certainly if the committee, or if the board desires to have a committee just to vet this a little bit more completely, that wouldn't be a problem at all.
Mike, that was gonna be one of my questions. You've already kind of developed what you've wanted, is that correct?
Yeah, so this is about 8 months of a significant amount of staff time really working through these, both in terms of the analysis that I conducted back in April, and then the last few months, as we've been discussing and evaluating which things belong on the list and which things don't. So in some respects, we have acted as an internal staff committee. But yeah, what I'm presenting to the board, it would be my final recommendation for the board to consider. And if they wanted to review it, change anything, that would all be appropriate at the committee level.
Trustee Meritato, then if I could recommend, because there's already like a final product, if it can be presented to the committee the whole, instead of going through the process of trying to form a committee that may take multiple meetings to form, if it could be just presented to this committee and we can make a determination here. And I'm just saying that because I kind of know the process of how we form committees at this point. And forming committees sometimes takes more work than actually doing the work of the committee.
Well, if we bring back the old committee, it shouldn't take anything to, I mean, you probably can contact the people, see if they still wanna be on the committee.
I think it has to be reformed, because the work has resolved and it is over now. The committee was.
The committee dissolved by resolution.
That's what I'm saying, so that's what I'm trying to say. The committee members, yeah, we can bring them back, but the committee has to be formed again, so we're gonna have to go through the process of forming that committee. And my fear is that the way we form committees is gonna take 3 meetings, and we can maybe resolve this in 1 meeting.
I don't care if it takes 4 meetings. I mean,
Okay.
what is the difference? I mean, I'm not in a hurry to get this done.
Okay. That was just if that was something the board wanted to move quickly with.
So Peter, what's the process for, because I thought we can reconvene, the board can reconvene that meeting. Isn't not?
We'd have to reform that committee because of its own creation, it dissolved when its work was done.
So how should we do that?
The way we did it before, but then it's gonna take the board to form that committee and decide which members go on that committee.
Okay.
So that's all it takes. It's like forming any other committee.
Yeah, okay.
So everybody would have a vote equally.
I believe, Pat, you were the chairman of that committee, correct, before?
Yeah.
All right, so I don't mind having you chairman or, so what we are deciding right now?
I don't know, I just wanna get some input from other people besides the
No,
board.
that's a valid question, yeah.
And I think so we would have to put it on as an agenda item to form that committee.
Okay, in the next board meeting?
We could do it at the next,
Or can we do it,
I would say no because it's not an agenda item
agenda,
tonight.
okay?
It's not an agenda
Form
item.
at the next meeting.
So we would have to add that to the agenda for next time.
Okay, Chester.
Pat, who was on that committee, do you remember?
I think Doug's got the list. I don't know.
I don't, from memory, it was trustee Pojek, trustee Meritato, trustee Meritato, trustee Light, trustee Siddiqui, April Hieronymus, and I don't remember the 5th person's name.
Did you have a lot of residents on your committee, Pat?
Yeah, we had 2.
Oh, just,
Yeah, real estate.
So April's a real estate, broker in town.
And the other guy was a member of the town, and he was,
Real estate attorney or something.
yeah, real estate attorney.
So I mean, we had a couple of good people on the commission, you know? I would like to get some input. I mean,
The mayor's just one of 7.
I got a lot of issues with it myself, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of things I don't like, but I mean, if I have a committee and they decide, hey, you know what? I like them, you don't, then, hey, I'll go whatever the committee says.
Issues with the program or the recommendation?
Well, the recommendation, you know, I mean, there's some stuff on there I don't like. I'm sure the board members might have some stuff they don't like. But, I mean, if it came out of the committee, well, all your recommendations, fine. I mean, that's what it is. At least I'm getting input from a couple of real estate people that sells houses in town, you know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Who better knows what people are looking for?
Of course.
So I don't know, it's up to the board and whatever they wanna do, I don't care, whatever you guys wanna do.
I'd like to, for time saving wise, Pat, I think it'd be a good idea, cause the committee can go through it, hash it out, and bring it back, and I know Mike's put a lot of work in this, I believe a lot of what Mike has done, but I know some of the members of the board are not quite on the same page, you know, so it might be a good time to, you know, have time to discuss this.
So Doug, we'll have to put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
I made a note.
So what are you suggesting? Put this on the agenda for something
For the next meeting.
meeting.
for
We
the
have to-
next
Yeah,
meeting?
we have to create the committee first, correct?
So we are gonna create committee at
The next meeting.
in the next meeting.
Correct. It'll be it'll
Put
be
it
an
on.
agenda item.
All right, they're gonna put it on the agenda for the next meeting. All right.
And the
Any more
direction,
discussion on that?
the direction is to appoint the people, what you want to consider is the appointment of the original people that run the first one. That's what I'm understanding.
Or willing citizens.
Is that correct, Pat, or no? Is that what you're?
No.
On a real estate company, I volunteer openly.
Sir, you remember the rules we talked about in the beginning? This is kind of when it applies.
Pat, I think the original committee, I mean, I'm sure the members would be happy.
Right, so all I wanna do is take all your recommendations that you did, write them all down, give them all to the committee, and see if they like them all, then bang, it's done. And then maybe, maybe somebody don't like this, or somebody.
To do it right.
Please, no comments from the audience. Thank you. All right. All right, Pat, is it all right? It'll be on the agenda next meeting.
Yeah, there's no vote, then it's just a direction for Doug to put that on the agenda.
Do we have to vote on that, Peter?
No vote, Mary.
All right. All right, number 2.
Let me speak, Mr. Mike Todorovic, thank you very much. You are working very hard. And you have discussed, about changes you want to make, and you have my full support. And I want to, ease compliance with the state law, safety, and needs of the resident. And you are going into right direction. Thank you very much.
Well, Pat would remain the chairperson, would he not? Is that what you'd like to be the chairperson?
I was on the last committee.
All right. All right, so there's no more discussion. We finished this. Thank you, Jazz, for shaking your head. Okay. An amendment to the village code pertaining to public comments, and this is
Yes.
from Administrator Flint.
Clerk Schmidt requested at the last board meeting that we bring back a potential ordinance for the board to consider, which is in your packet, that essentially reduces our time limit that we've set currently in ordinance at 5 minutes per person to speak, at 3 minutes, and then also can only speak one time during the board meeting and one time during the committee of the whole meeting. So the time limit would be moved from 5 minutes to 3 minutes, and you have one opportunity during the board meeting, the business meeting, and one opportunity during the COW. So that's in your packet for consideration, and if the board's in agreement with that, we'll bring it back next meeting for action.
And just for clarification, so if you use a minute and a half of your 3, you've waived the rest of your minute and a half. The rest of the 3 minutes is gone.
All right, is the board
You
in
speak for
favor?
30. So, sorry, Mary.
Is the board in favor of bringing this? Do I have your comments? Are you interested in bringing this back so that it goes from 5 to 3 minutes? Is that what you're looking for?
And only one time talking.
Right.
I did only one time.
I agree with that.
You agree with that? Anyone else interested in voicing an opinion? Yes, Mike.
Quick question on that, would there be allowance for additional time given if board agrees 100% and votes on, if there's a matter pertaining to a deeper subject that may take more than 3 minutes, would it be allowable to give that person up to that 5-minute mark?
My recollection is that the current rules allow a vote by the majority of the board to allow someone additional time.
So if somebody needs.
Or an
more-
additional appearance, that would be within the board's discretion.
Is it by the board or by the chair?
The chairman of whichever meeting it is has the authority to grant more time with approval of the board.
With approval.
Okay. All right, I'm okay with that then.
All right, everybody okay with that? Do we have to take a vote, yes?
No, it's just
No?
a discussion item.
Alright. Alright, a garage sale permit. Alright, Administrator Flint.
So you asked for us to review garage sale permits and reducing them for seniors.
Yes, I did.
So we put a proposal in your packet that keeps the garage sale permit at the current cost of $10 for those under the age of 60 and reduces it to $5 for those over the age of 60.
And when will that go into effect?
Whenever the board decides, that, well, as soon as we bring it to you in form of an ordinance and you vote on it.
Alright.
Are we gonna have 3 permits?
Yeah, that doesn't change. The amount of permits doesn't change. Just the
Right
fee.
now it's 3, right?
Yes.
It's actually 4, I'm sorry.
Four.
It's actually 4.
4.
In a year.
It's
Oh.
4?
I
4
thought
in
it
a
was-
year. So that won't change.
Get a bonus.
Alright, very good. Alright, the police canine program, Chief Pappas, would you like to give a presentation tonight?
Went to the end.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Village Board, for this opportunity to talk about establishing a Bloodhound unit for the Glendale Heights Police Department and the Village of Glendale Heights. We have an eclectic community. We talk about this in our board meetings a lot. It's a diverse community also, both by age and by heritage. This wonderful mix is a hallmark of our community, but there's also afforded some complications. We have a rapidly growing population, which means that we will have opportunities where residents have both dementia and Alzheimer's. We also have younger families that are moved in, and they have younger children too. So with that said, people who are older and have Alzheimer's and dementia, they sometimes become lost. Same thing with missing children. So the benefits of the Bloodhounds are the ability to effectively track not only the missing children, but also those older people with Alzheimer's and dementia, and including fleeing offenders. Last year, these are stats for last year. In 2022, we had 87 missing person reports. As you can see by the numbers there, you wouldn't think this many people are missing throughout town, but they really are. And for us, we're looking for a tool that can help us find those people when they're gone. So now talk about advantages of a Bloodhound. What a Bloodhound does is, compared to a German Shepherd, a Bloodhound has 300 million sensor receptors in their nose. A German Shepherd has about 225. That allows them the ability to locate people who are missing. Bloodhounds also air sniff opposed to ground sniff. And there's a couple of stories that I can tell you. When I started at the police department as a community service officer, there was another community service officer here who was also a Bloodhound handler. And that Bloodhound was able to track from Bloomingdale and Armitage over Bloomingdale Bridge to Army Trail in Bloomingdale to find an offender. That is a huge space, but it's because how strong their noses are. Bloodhounds also do not bite. So when they're tracking missing people, missing children, or Alzheimer's patients, when they locate them, the people that they locate might get a face full of slobber, but they won't get bitten at all. So, in addition, in optimal conditions, a Bloodhound can track up to 3 days after the incident. So if a person is missing for a while, that Bloodhound, if the conditions are right, can have 3 days later and still do the track. This year we started a drone unit, and the drone unit's out 24/7. So the drone unit can be used in conjunction with the Bloodhound. So for example, it goes out in front of the track of the Bloodhound so it can see obstacles, it can see the offender, and it can also locate the missing child too, or person. So, here's the big question everybody wants to know. How the heck are we gonna pay for this thing, right? So I was speaking to the owner of Ivy Hall. We talked about Ivy Hall donating for the Charity Golf Classic. Well, I was talking about the Bloodhound unit. So David Berger came to me and he said, listen, I want to be part of this community. I want to help the police department serve this community. I want to pay for the Bloodhound. And I also want to pay for the annual maintenance for the Bloodhound. In addition, at the police department, when there is somebody who is selling drugs and such, it's called asset forfeiture. Asset forfeiture funds are money that can only be used for police enforcement actions. A Bloodhound is one of those. So it does not come from village taxpayers. It comes from the donations by Ivy Hall and from asset forfeitures. All right, there's a couple of those little twerps right there. So here's the timeline for the Bloodhounds. The trainer, Ellen Pinnell, she was a CSO that worked with me back in the 90s. She is known throughout the country for her Bloodhounds. There's periodicals, I've seen them in California, Colorado, all over the place because her dogs are that good. Officer Gabby Lesnar, you guys, that's not her name that you guys know about, she just got married. She has been selected to be our Bloodhound handler. The difference between training a Bloodhound and training a German Shepherd or even our Comfort Dog is at the end of October, Gabby will receive this dog as a puppy, and all the training will go with Officer Lesnar. So from a puppy all the way up, they train together. Usually with German Shepherds, they're trained at the academy or place that you get them from, and then the handler takes them already trained. Same thing with our Comfort Dog. The Comfort Dog is trained for a year and a half before it comes to the police department, whatever it goes to. So Gabby's gonna have this puppy at 8 weeks, and at 10 months, the dog will be certified. Here's some recent examples of how efficient these Bloodhounds are. Last Friday, I did the Glenbard West Parade in Glen Ellen, and I talked to the chief there. And Friday, they had a missing Alzheimer's patient. And when the dog, they called the Bloodhound for him, the person was missing for 3 hours. He had gone into somebody's backyard because he didn't understand, and he thought it was his house. It was the Bloodhound who actually found the missing person. We called the Bloodhound out Tuesday, an assisting agency. Unfortunately, we found the child before the Bloodhound got there. And the most recent Bolingbrook homicide, the offender was identified through a Bloodhound. I think I said this a lot, but the reason why is we had a common theme through our Northern Illinois University survey, which was given to the residents, and that was to continue to provide excellent police services for our residents. I believe this is an excellent service that we can provide for our residents. When it comes to me as a police officer or the police department, when you have a missing child or somebody who is missing because of dementia, Alzheimer's, it really gets to you because you don't know what happened to that person. You don't know where they're at. Now you put into the equation a missing child with autism. They're prone to go towards water sources and such. It's pretty scary. So you try to find the best resources that you can have to try to help and locate those people. So with that said, do we have any questions?
Yes, Pat.
Chief, did you say that Ivy Hall is flipping this whole bill?
Ivy Hall is going to donate $4,500 for this Bloodhound.
Okay, because they were big donators for our classic too.
They were I think a platinum sponsor. I think that's what Jen said, and they also paid for the lunch at the Charity Golf Classic.
So they was a great addition to the village, I'll tell you that.
They really want to be part of this community.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
All right, Chester?
Chief, I had a demonstration on our campus over here many, many years ago, and I tell you, we need that Bloodhound.
They're excellent.
It would be an asset to this village and to the residents and the police department.
They are excellent, and I don't know if any of the residents have seen them, and they'll come out to Camera Park on Wednesdays and train. DuPage County has 1, 2, Bolingbrook has 2. They'll actually train in Glendale Heights because the Camera Park is so huge. And those dogs, they will track. The tracks are so long, very successful at them. Very, very good dogs.
Are they all AKC Doug?
Yes, yes,
okay.
yep.
Yes, Mike.
Question, I mean, I know you buy a car, it goes south on you and it doesn't work very well.
Mhm.
What kind of, is not a warranty, I guess you would say, I don't know what you call it, dog, a guarantee of service that this dog can do this?
Here's the cool thing. So when, like I said, when I was a CSO, I worked with Ellen Pannell. Her dog was named Green Machine. The bloodlines from these bloodhounds are Green Machine bloodlines. So they're coming from the best of the best. And like I said earlier, she is known countrywide just because that's the bloodlines that she only goes to that breeder, and those are the ones that she trains. So I don't know, you can't say 100% everything, but those are some pretty
I
good.
think it's a great addition, I think it'll be wonderful.
I don't think you'll have a problem with the board. We all seem like that's a wonderful idea. All right, we don't,
So what you
are you waiting for us to vote?
approval or something, or it's just a?
No, this is just, chief, kinda just notifying you of an addition to the police department, so it's not a shock to you when you see a bloodhound walking around?
You see a big floppy-eared thing drooling?
A lot of things chopped,
Yeah.
but not the blood.
Okay.
So Chief, it's already been approved and you're just wanting to give us information,
I
is
just
that
wanna let
correct?
you, I wanna let the community know that we wanna bring this tool to the village, to our residents, and it's not taxpayer money that's paying for it.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. All right. All right, now Mike, you had something you wanted to bring up?
We got public comment.
Public comment.
Public comment first, Mary.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there anyone in the public who would like to make a comment on what's already been spoken? I guess not.
Tika, this is
No,
your chance.
public comment on anything, yeah.
On
Yeah,
anything,
anything.
correct, on anything.
Please come to the podium and state your name.
All right. Please state your name and address.
Thank you. My name is Josephine Dango, and my address is 1929 Glen Rock Lane, Glendale Heights. I've been there since 2019, and from 2019 to 2021, they have been doing the grass cutting good, but last year and this year, they have been abandoning part of the grass behind my home. They have not been doing their work completely.
So it's common area that the village cuts?
Yes,
What's the address?
1929 Glen Rock Lane.
I'll look into that.
Directly behind your house?
Yes. Yes, behind the house, after my own fence, behind.
What is the address?
1929 Glen Rock.
All right. Can we have someone
Yeah, I'll
look at it?
Yep.
All right.
We'll take care, we'll look into that, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
My name is Brian Ratliff, and I apologize. Not wearing my hearing aids, so to address the board, this is to discuss items that have just been discussed by the trustees, correct?
No, anything you want to talk
Oh,
about.
okay. Actually, my question is for Chief Pappas. I think the Bloodhound is a terrific idea. I think you are well aware of an incident that happened at Family and Faith back in August, where there was a bomb threat. And there was a lot of very poor citizens, a lot of senior citizens that had to stand out in the sun, away from any kind of bathroom facilities or water for a good 2 hours, due to the fact that we were waiting for a bomb-sniffing dog. Has there been any consideration given by the Glendale Heights Police Department for, in addition to a bloodhound, a explosive sniffing dog?
We haven't looked into that, and I'll be honest with you, the reason being is that does not come up as much. So we'd really have to prove a need for that before I would ask to get that done. But you're right, it stunk because all those people had to stand outside. And unfortunately, like we talked about before, this is commonplace now that for some people, they think it's great to do these bomb threats. You guys are doing a great service there. You're trying to feed people who normally would not have the nutrients to feed themselves. And for some reason, somebody thought that was a great idea to prevent that from happening. And they go all over. They do it to schools, and we talked about that too. And unfortunately, they're targeting people that, I know they shouldn't target anybody, but they're targeting people who are looking for help or places that they're trying to get help.
Well, it was mentioned to me at the time, speaking with other officers, that this happens quite a bit, especially with the local schools. And I think anecdotally, it was explained to me that it, Glen Hill, not Glen Hill,
Lombard West.
Americana, I'm sorry, across from the library.
Yeah, that was.
Had several, and the Glenbards, especially around exam time, have had several bomb threats. So it seems to be a bit more of a rare event. And my only comment is for the police department and the village council to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh,
Buenas noches, miembros de la Junta Directa. Good evening, board members. Mi nombre es Miguel Francisco Ontiveros. My name is Michael Frank Ontiveros of Glendale Heights. And yes, I'm an American first and foremost, and of Latin descent second. I would like to also say that people who say they represent the Hispanic community do not represent me or a lot of the others that I know here in this township. I do have several inquiries, though, and I would appreciate a response in kind due to the limitation I have on my presentation up here. First, though, I want to ensure that the mic is on, that I'm not being cut off as I was in the last meeting. Okay, there you go. All right, but here are the questions I have for the board. What is the status of the frivolous lawsuit brought on by Chaudhry Kokar against Mohammed Siddiqui, our trustee? And while I'm at it, I want to remind everyone here on the board that there are 4 additional lawsuits being given to village residents that don't agree with his views. Our second question to you would be is, our village president has been indicted, and I believe the next court date is somewhat in late October. My question is, what steps has the board taken to limit his access to village resources, i.e. the credit card, company car, etc.? And while I'm on the subject, I'd also like to know who else has credit card access. Do other elected officials on this board have one as well? Number 3, and I've asked this before in previous meetings, how much money have the taxpayers had to endure of Glendale Heights to spend on Chaudhry Kokar's lawsuits? And have we even settled any of these lawsuits to date? And my last question is this: what is the status on appointments for Property Enhancement and Planning Commission? I personally applied 6 months ago, Mr. Kokar, directly to you as requested, and have not received a response, or for that matter, has anyone else? So would anybody care to share an answer to any of the 4 questions I just posed?
I think number 1 question directly to me, so I can answer that. So Mr. Ontiveros, my lawsuit has been dismissed with prejudice. The Honorable Court said that it's a frivolous, and this lawsuit was only filed on me to intimidate me. And as you mentioned, there are 4 more people. Those are Sohail Bari, his wife, Farah Bari, his kid, Daniel Bari, and our Glendale Heights resident, Mr. Adil Salam. So this is a technique to intimidate me because I'm the one who was bringing his stipend and his way of spending the taxpayers' money. I have a big question mark. I'm still gonna bring those, and I'm not gonna be silent by those frivolous lawsuits or intimidating techniques on my family. And the one thing which I'm again surprised that Mr. Coker brought on the court, in front of the judge, that he was working fine with me until I came to him for my wife's employment. So I want to clear once for all to make sure that this lie has to be cleared. So I'm going to ask Mr. Flint, you are the one who hired people here, correct? Did I ever approach to you about my wife's employment, or did I ever forward you my wife's resume?
No.
Did any department head recall or tell me if I ever asked them for my wife's employment or my wife's resume? Or did my wife ever work here?
She's never worked here. I think she applied for a part-time position in the senior center and then withdrew it.
No, that was my son before
Okay,
even
your son.
My son was working as a part-time before I got elected.
Okay.
And then he left when he get a admission in the college. So I wasn't the trustee, and he never mentioned that even when I get elected. So I get a call from the senior center, and they say, "Oh, we didn't know that your son worked." And then I say, "Yeah, there's nothing to tell about. He's working. He's just working." So whatever the lie he is telling to the code or to the people, so this has to stop. This childish behavior, and in his mind,
Don't be personal on
in
me.
his childish behavior,
Can you please tell him not to be personal on me?
I didn't say,
He
I'm
has
still
present
talking.
Wait.
Can you stop him, from
One
personal
person
attacks?
has the floor, please.
This is
I am
personal,
talking, and he cannot.
No,
interrupt.
please
He-
don't interrupt while he has the floor. Then
He
you
is
can
personal
get-
talking, attacking me
behavior has
personally.
to
He
stop.
cannot do, you are chair.
I mean, look at this today's when I objected about the.
All right, 5 minutes.
No, this does not apply to me. Yes.
No, I tell you one thing, rules of Glendale Heights do not apply to trustee,
No, the 3 minutes is for the people, I'm just giving the answer, yes.
All right.
So, I have a big problem for this, individuals violating any rules of the quorum may be ruled out by the order of the mayor. An individual violating the rules of the quorum may be removed from the meeting at the direction of the mayor. This is we call dictatorial techniques to intimidate the common residents and common people. And I do not agree on those.
Okay, Mohammed, thank
So
you.
that's I hope, Mr. Ontiveros, I answer your question number 1. The question number 2 is about,
Well, the question that I had on number 2, because again, I don't want to be limited by time, because you folks are doing all the speaking, I just asked the question. Now that he's been indicted, I believe the next court date is late October, I wanted to know what steps the board has taken to limit his access to certain things as a result of the indictment. Can anybody answer that?
I think Mr. Flint can answer some of these questions, no?
No.
No? Oh, all right. Chester.
Mike, the only thing I know of, I can speak for the entire 6 trustee members of this village, we do not have a village credit card. Well, as far as I know, we want a credit card, we use our own.
We've
You're
never,
talking about all elected officials or just the trustees, excluding the village president?
Exactly.
Okay.
We do not have credit cards from.
we have
around the
never,
village.
never had a credit card. Yes, Pat?
Okay, but does the mayor have a credit card and for what reason?
The only person that has a credit card is the mayor. The board, we never ever had credit cards.
so what's the reason why the mayor has a credit card?
And my second thing is, Doug, do you know how much money it cost us for this last crazy lawsuit with Mohammed? Do you have a price tag on it?
With travelers, insurance.
The attorney that represented trustee Siddiqui was being paid for by Travelers. Travelers Insurance, who's our indemnifier, has not received the final bills from the attorney who represented trustee Siddiqui, because the court case was just last week, right? 2 weeks ago. So they have not received the final bill yet, so I don't know the answer to that question yet.
Okay, my second question is, 7 lawsuits, 7 dismissed, crazy. What's our chance of Travelers dropping us? on insurance?
Dropping us, probably pretty slim. Increasing our premiums, I've been told that's gonna happen.
I believe actually, if we looked at the FOIAs in the January 1, our premiums did go up as a result of some of those lawsuits. Our premiums did go up for liability in the FOIAs that I requested back in January.
Mr. Honduras,
No, wait, just one minute, Mohammed, okay. All right, are you through, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, we still got 3 more to go, but I mean,
Well,
our rates are gonna go up.
The people that are still left in the lawsuit that trustee Siddiqui mentioned the names of are not represented by the village.
Okay. Okay, but the big one is,
Trustee Siddiqui was.
yeah, okay, we got one more.
All right, Mayor,
I want to respond to lawsuit, a first lawsuit was filed by Sohail Bari and Farah Bari, relative of trustee Siddiqui. He never mentioned about that. Number one. Number two, that was dismissed, because that had no merit. Number three, trustee Siddiqui mentioned that judge said, it's frivolous lawsuit. Judge did not mention, and I'm going to file contempt of court, against Mr. Siddiqui. I'm announcing that, that words were not used by judge.
So you're going
He's
to
adding
continue
that
to
in
sue?
contempt of court. I am going to file contempt of court against him,
So we'll continue to file lawsuits
Number
against
four,
trustees?
number four, he did not mention that his relative, brother-in-law, Sohail Bari, has been getting for 21 years.
Here we
It's
go.
my time, it's my time,
go ahead.
it's my time.
I understand, sir,
For
but
21 years, and Mr. Mike,
I understand, but I'm asking.
Mike Antivirus never mentioned that he was taking
But
village
specific,
money.
I'm just asking for answers to specific
I'm
questions.
asking.
You're getting off track.
And number five, Siddiqui has habit to make stories. And every story he make is caught.
Peter.
And then he left like a stupid person.
Peter, we're getting off track here. I'm asking specific questions.
And that is
to answer.
village money, and he never talk about cricket contract because his relative was making money out of it.
Mr. Coker, can you answer his question,
Yeah,
please?
I did.
all right.
Are you satisfied with his answer?
There is
No.
chair, chair can
I
control
agree.
you.
All right.
All
I
right,
know you are 6 on one side, but chair is controlling you.
all right.
She has floor.
You never address the questions I asked
I always
specifically. You
ask
go
you a
around it.
question.
However,
If
let
it's
me just finish the
question, I
final
do.
question because again, other people want to speak, so I'm just going to
Okay,
ask
what's
what's
your question
specific.
again?
The last question again is, I asked you for a status on appointments for Planning Commission and Property Enhancement. You begged me to send you an application
I
to
did
say,
not beg- I did
send
not
it to
beg
me.
you, number one.
So
Number
guess
two-
what? I sent it to you and guess what? You didn't respond. You didn't even send me a thank you letter. So where are we with this whole commission and appointments? People are waiting out here to get things done.
I don't know about people, but you are waiting, And as long as board is not cooperating with me, by myself, I cannot do, this is board and mayor. And you never talk to trustee about that, your appointment. Talk with these people, and I have.
No.
deputy mayor. If I
The
talk with
paperwork was
deputy mayor-
specific to talk to you only.
No, you cannot talk specifically with me, talk with the board. Board has power. They say they are running.
Board gave me the
village-
recommendation to apply in the
Yeah.
first place, and here we
Yeah,
are.
They did not.
Well, I will do it right
You
now.
told him to come to your office.
I can't afford
Wait
$50.
for Ask for Hartford. This is
You
problem.
told him to come to your
She is
office and
chairing,
discuss it.
Ms. Schroeder is chairing trustee Schroeder is
Can't
chairing.
reason with that, man.
And you don't obey, decorum,
Okay. Out of respect for everybody
You
else,
should
anybody else
respect,
wants to speak, please do.
hearing. You have no respect. And you are here for 25, 30 years, I don't know. For how many?
Well, you should
Hi.
know.
Why should I know you?
All right,
Why should I know you?
Wait,
You should I know
wait.
you, not me. It's not like this.
Why don't you just
Learn
resign
something.
to make
Learn
everybody
something.
happy?
Learn something.
Mary.
yes, I know, I'm trying to get everybody's attention. Please let this lady speak.
By comparison, it's very mild. But I do have a concern.
You just have to identify
I'm here
yourself.
to ask about the James Court project, utility project that's going on.
Ma'am, if you could just identify.
Her name,
Oh, I'm
we-
sorry.
Yeah.
My name is Christine Greenman.
Thank you, ma'am.
I live at 424 James Court, Unit D. And I'm here to ask about that James Court utility project that's started already. We did receive notices that there'd be some disruption in parking and so forth, but there's a parking ban on for 7 weeks right now, all day, from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now, if you know anything about James Court, it's a fairly narrow street. You cannot park on both sides, I understand that. But that's a long time to have to be off the streets. And it is a huge construction project, I understand that. They're working at the bottom of James Court right now, and the hole is probably 6 feet deep. But daily parking on James Court has always been a challenge. And and we managed not to park on Wednesdays from April and May and October and November, which is 16 Wednesdays. We already are not allowed to park on James Court for ostensibly street cleaning. Okay, now this is another pressure put on all the other streets in the area because we all have to park someplace. I mean, most of us have 2 cars, let's face it, one car, one spot in the driveway, and then most people have at least another car that parks on the street. And it's about 2 full months that we're gonna be having to do this, and that could involve bad weather and possibly snow. So, I don't know, I'm just looking for a little relief on that.
I can answer that for you.
Who's talking? Oh, yes, okay.
There is a storm sewer going in James Court, and it will take about 4 weeks to be completed, so it's not going to be 2 months. It is a large diameter sewer, so they have to close the road to allow the park to get in and the equipment. So the whole road will be closed, and we are asking for no parking. But it won't be 8 weeks, it should be done all completely finished by about 4 weeks.
Well, I hope that's the case. I know our condo management, I live in a condo, they're all condos along in that area, and they're all 4-unit buildings, so there are a lot of people and a lot of cars. And she's already called the police department and asked about parking on both sides of the street, but she was told it would not be permitted. What I would like to suggest is that we could open up the parking on both sides of Pearl, because that is a wider street, just temporarily during the day. I mean, this is a 9 to 5 or 7 to 5 timeframe. So at night, it might not be a problem, but during the daytime, if people could park on both sides of Pearl, that would certainly be a help.
How far down does the construction go?
Well, they've blocked off the whole street.
It's gonna be the entire road
From Pearl all the way to Prairie.
yeah.
From Pearl to Prairie?
Pearl to Prairie, yeah. Yeah, Pearl to Prairie. That's basically the whole street. And I'm respectfully asking for consideration and accommodation for all of us taxpayers who need street parking.
It's for safety reasons, the road is closed.
I get
For
that.
the employees.
Christina, can I meet with you after the
Sure.
meeting, get your phone number, and I'll look and see if we could do the parking permission on Pearl.
On Pearl.
These are wider roads, we have to look at the diameters and to see if a fire truck can pass through and park on both sides.
Oh, I understand that, yeah. And otherwise, we're gonna be competing with all the people on Sydney and Prairie and Pearl on the one side that we can park on, and Pleasant. You know.
The roads
And
that
even
go-
into countryside.
Yeah, the roads that go from Sydney to James, those are all packed, because they have the same issues, so it's hard to find parking there. And I know the opposite would be parking in Glendale Heights and unincorporated. So let me look at to see if we can have if the road is big enough for Pearl, and I will talk to you.
That would be super, I'd appreciate it, thank you. I'm just asking, we're all taxpayers, and I know we have to get this work done, and it's taxpayer money going into that, but we also pay taxes for our streets and so forth, so, thank you.
Hi, thank you.
Tony Andrade, 597 Easy Street. Guys, every week I come in here, that I try to be here, and it's the same stuff. Somebody bashing the mayors, everybody arguing, everybody talking about time, shortening the people from talking. I want to remind you is that we're the citizens of Glendale Heights. We vote you in and we vote you out. You should be able to listen to us for 5 minutes. Of course, nobody should interrupt. We should all be polite. Not only that, I started to FOIA everything in this town because I want to know what's going on. And I got to tell the citizens, the man who runs the town is Mr. Douglas. The board can say what they want. He runs the town. The mayor can't hire, the mayor can't fire. So far, I'm finding all this out, and I'm not the brightest guy here. So all your show and your going back and forth, your Spanish speaker that he wants to talk meanwhile, it's all a show. We don't want to see a show. We want to talk about the city. We want you guys to hear us, and we want to hear you. What's so hard about that? I'm not here to take nobody's job. I'm not here to bash anybody. We're a citizen. We just want to listen. I agree with the lady back there in the white hat. We run the town. You guys can scream and yell and force things with a gavel and run it, Mary. Don't forget, you're elected. And I'm not picking on you, no offense. No, we're citizens. We just want you to listen to us too. The more you shorten our time, the less you let us talk, the more we're gonna get involved. You guys don't realize that? And all the little bickering, do it on your own time. We don't wanna hear it. Does anybody really wanna hear that? And we hear it every week. Every week, guys. I'm here to just support the person that's right. I'm here to support the rest of our citizens, nobody else. Mayor, I know you can't hire anybody and you can't fire anybody. Douglas, I feel, is doing a good job. Mike's doing a good job. Our chief is doing a good job. So far from them, I got no complaints. Guys, it's upsetting. Every day when you scream and yell and say you run the town, Mr. Pojek, it's insulting to us as citizens. You don't think about us? And let me tell you right now, you can shut me up, you can shorten my time, but all of this will come back on election time. I'll make it my life's quest to bring it up and show it in election time, that you shut us up, that you don't want us to talk, that you don't want to hear from us. And nobody's paying me, and nobody will ever pay me. You guys can't afford me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, I have some different names.
Say your name
I've been
and-
called. My name is Martika King. So, God bless you all. I came here really to say a prayer because I'm very concerned, not only about our town, but about our state and about our nation. So I'm taking just the constitutional right of freedom of religion and saying a prayer for all of us. Because we're in, well, a lot of you know, and a lot of you don't know how deep we're in to destruction. But my prayer is, oh, and sir, I wanted to say to you, Michael, you know, actually, Michael, I wanted to say that, you know, you've got a really good idea, really good things going. What disturbed me was kind of along the lines of, what is your name, sir? Tony, that there were no citizens involved. You know, and it sounded like the committee didn't have really citizens, and even the reformation of the committee wasn't gonna have, you know, and I'd rather we did it right than we just rush it, you know? But it's still, I understand, and I'm, you know, it could apply to me too, you know, in terms of selling or renting or whatever, you know, God knows, but nobody else does, really. So, you know, God bless America, God bless Illinois, get rid of Pritzker, God bless this town, and everybody, and these guys, you know, I've been observing, I haven't been involved in politics really before, until, you know, a couple of years ago when my husband passed. So, I've just been pretty much observing and been a little surprised that on a local level, it's as crazy as the state and, you know, national, kind of. So my prayer, getting back to my prayer, yeah, and everybody can believe, you know, different, you know, we all have different faiths, but ultimately, we're striving for love of neighbor, love of, you know, one another, helping. Chandra, I said to you, you know, when I first met, because I'm a peacemaker, I've been a counselor, a mental health counselor for 20 years. Suicide counseling now for police and veterans and others. So Shadri, I said to you, you know, if you're gonna be mayor, I'd like to see you be a great leader. You know, I wanna help you. You heard me say that, Doug, do you remember?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you were being kind of, and I saw you get a lot of verbal abuse, But I saw you verbally and otherwise, attacking too. So I know it was kind of both ways. So I do know you're a fighter, but truly you have to be a good leader, which means consensus. It means cooperation. It means humbleness, not arrogance. You know what I mean, right? Amen? Amen?
All right.
All right,
Very well.
thank you.
Thank you so much, okay. Yes, did you want to go right ahead, sir?
My name is Jose Antonio Pacheco. My address is 128 Andover Drive, Glendale Heights. I have a quick question. In our government, we have 3 branches. One of them is legislative. There are 436 representatives and 100 senators, 2 per state. With all due respect, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but do you think the senators tell the president that they run the country? With all due respect, you should be a little bit more respectful to our mayor when you said, we run this town, and then what is he for? Why don't you 6 of them take responsibility and take the decision for him? He should be a little bit more respected. That's all I want to say. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want to have anybody against me because what I said, because it's my constitutional right to express my feelings because I'm a U.S. citizen, just in case I don't like, because of my accent or my name. But we should be a little bit more respectful to our mayor because that's why he's our mayor. He won all the votes from everybody. So he's our mayor. We should be more respectful to him as everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Marietta Britt, 2118 Brittany Court. I just have 2 questions, and Mike, I think these are gonna go to you in regards to Clyde's and the building in front of Clyde's. As everyone knows, my backyard butts right up against those buildings. Clyde's has a camera right on the edge of back of my yard. Once the leaves fall, they'll be able to see straight into my kitchen. So I'd like to find out what they see, what they do with the recordings, how far they can see, etc. From a privacy perspective, I'd like to look into that. And also the lights, the security lights back there shine right into the houses. So I need to see if there's something that can be done to redirect those lights down.
Do the security lights have a shield? Are they directed downward or are they just out?
They're directed down, but they do project out. I don't believe they have a shield on them.
We can look into that. I'll discuss with Chief Pappas about the recording.
Yeah, the camera is a big concern of mine. I'd like to be able to get up in the morning, have a cup of coffee without, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Epstein, Club Drive, Glendale Heights. First thing I want to say is 12 minutes today. Boy, I thought we were limited to 5, but there was 12 out here today by somebody. This is for Chief. A couple things. I watched the last video of the last meeting, and I saw somebody, a relative of a trustee here, direct a direct threat to the village president. So I don't know if anything was done about it, but I felt that he was threatened by this relative of a trustee on the board. So that's one thing that I think needs to be followed up, since that was out here in public. Second of all, another resident came up and said, oh yeah, we knew about the smoking room. It's been there forever. I think it was 2008. The smoking ordinance indoors prohibits any smoking within 15 feet. Yet that was allowed to be built and allowed to be used for all this time up until he came in and I pointed it out to him. I hope we don't go back to the old times and allow, I don't care if it's a judge, an attorney, an employee, like that person said, but yes, that's another thing. The next thing is the incident that happened with, I think it was 7 vehicles that were in a vehicle crash. And it came from District 5's area, came straight down Bloomingdale Road. And we had no officers intercepting that during that time. I'm just curious because one, we've got at least 4 schools that I can count. And I have a safety issue of why, or did we even put the drone up?
So that incident, I'm not gonna talk about, that's Bloomingdale's incident, and you don't know that.
Mhm.
The part of that where we learned where the vehicle was at the time that vehicle was there. So we didn't know the direction that vehicle, the cars were going at the time until they were on those actual roads. We did have actual community service officers out there doing traffic control for school at the time, so.
I just have concern with the safety of the kids.
And I understand, and I am not gonna argue that at all. You've been to neighborhood watch meetings, and
Yeah.
I've talked about this kind of
Yes.
thing.
So, all right, thank you.
How I feel.
Thank you.
Kim Darling, Greenbrier, this is for you, Mike. Did I misunderstand something? Last meeting, I think we discussed 10 to 15% reduction from that transfer stamp? And are you saying now that there will be no fees deducted from the transfer stamp, just the process of it?
No.
Did I misunderstand that?
I think so.
Okay, good.
So to clarify and maybe just choose my words carefully, the transfer stamp is a tax that the village has for the transfer of property. This is unrelated to the tax. So we'll conduct our inspections in order to transfer property. Those inspections generate permits.
Right.
The changes that I was proposing were anticipating a 10 to 15% reduction in permits. So then you can extrapolate that and say, well, that may be a 10%, 15% reduction in fees collected as a function of the reduced permit activity. If that makes sense.
It will in a second, as soon as my brain catches up with what you just said. Okay, so the transfer stamp is separate from the permits, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I had to get a permit to put my driveway in, and then then my driveway had to be, you had to come out and inspect it, and I failed the inspection because I didn't have any landscaping. Mind you, they just put in the driveway, so landscaping's kind of missing, but I flunked for that reason. Never passed it. So is this part of the things that you're going to be fixing?
This would be part of it when you try to sell your property. Should you try to sell your property, I should say.
Okay,
So it doesn't impact voluntary work, voluntary installations that people are doing in homes they occupy at this time. It's impacting the things that we identify at the time of the sale. Or
as
what you would like-
life-threatening.
I'm sorry?
I believe you said life-threatening and life-enhancing projects.
So-
My landscaping is neither of that.
So I am,
This only applies if you're selling your house.
Right. But I'm saying he said, or Mike said, that he was trying to narrow this so that it was life-saving issues or issues
But
when he does the transfer stamp, right?
yes, by and large, we're narrowing it to focus on those life safety measures or installations, property maintenance. I will suggest, though, that's kind of a global view. We are not actively pursuing to catch, for instance, unpermitted work unless
Right.
we identify a deficiency. So it's important to note that the deficiencies that are identified, we are still going to actively pursue those. So if for instance, your driveway wasn't permitted, and we made note of that, we would, like, maybe that's not the best example. If there was something visibly wrong that we would see with your driveway or another type of installation, we would note that. But if everything looked fine, we wouldn't look to conduct the research to see if it was COVID and things like that. So, when I say life
That's
safety.
what I'm trying to get around, right.
Life safety is kind of a global thing where we are actively seeking to make sure that you know, your fire alarms are
Working.
up to code, right?
Right.
Things of that nature, egress windows. There are a lot of things that fall in the other category where they might be identified based upon their condition, but largely we are trying to change our posture and scale back from identifying those things.
Can we as residents get a copy of this that is in their packets?
Well, once everything's finalized,
We can't get work in progress?
well, if it's in board docs now, you can see it.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm asking. Okay. Chief, I think we need 2 bloodhounds.
Alright. Any other comments? We can continue? Alright. Mike, you had something that,
Yeah, I'm tired already. This one's directed, kind of question that was brought up tonight. As far as policy goes, I would like to create and draft a policy to remove the use of any elected official driving any vehicle that the village owns. This way we know exactly what's going on, who's going where, what we're doing. If we do have a village function or matters pertaining to the village, I believe we can fill out a form for paid mileage. So as long as that's up to date and, you know, it's correct mileage, we should be more than sufficient with that. But can we do something like that and create that policy and get it done?
The policy as it stands today refers to employees' use of village vehicles.
Right, only employees.
That's what the policy says today.
Okay.
So elected officials are not considered employees.
So it already stands then, okay, so that no elected official really use it or cover with it.
This is an ongoing battle.
Right,
But
well, it shouldn't be, but, you know, I don't use it, it's kind of, as I see it, it's like giving me extra perks and bonuses. I don't need no one, I have my own vehicle, I drive my own vehicle, and I know the other trustees would do the same thing, so.
I have a quick question. And today I'm getting a lot of new information like credit card and so someone is using a car as well, like the village vehicle? Well, we're just trying to.
well, we all have our own cars. Why are we using village cars? We all have our own cars. We never use a village car.
Right, I just wanna make sure we're clear with it, that's all, we can get this taken
So,
care
but
of.
who is using the village car then?
So the mayor uses the car
For
to, well, he's used it to go to, last night he went to a mayors and managers business meeting. He used the car for that. He uses the car, I don't always know what he's using the car for. He and I had a conversation after the board meeting where you read a statement saying to remove the car.
Right.
He's asked for permission to use the car of late. But I'm not privy to everything that he does with the
Right.
car.
I take my own stuff everywhere, it's the best way to do it, so it removes all questionable stuff.
The policy as it is today says, it refers to only employees.
Only employees.
So what might you want to
I'm just
enforce the
looking
policy? Because the policy is still
To
there.
clarify the policy, I guess, I mean, would it be a,
So if the policy is there, then
it just needs to be
enforce.
enforced, okay. I didn't know if we had a policy pertaining to just that. Sorry,
What's coming out of this? I mean, you don't.
Well, just a clarification on what is usable or not usable, so we're not getting any extra perks or benefits from being able to use a village vehicle if I want to, you know, if I'm representing the village, I'm running down to Port Phillips for dinner, you know, I'm still representing the village, does that work? Or can I use it to go, let's say, out to the casino, does it work? Or just go downtown, does it work? I'm representing the village. I don't think that qualifies for anything. I mean, it needs to pertain to a village function or a village business directly to, if anything, and that's strictly for employees. Because I really don't want to see employees driving around on the weekend, heading down to, to the beach with a village car. I know that's usually watched pretty well, so I guess my point is I need to make sure that this is, I guess it's tightened up and watched even closer or changed so that we can completely understand what we're supposed to be doing.
So
Does that make any sense?
Who enforced that? So Doug, you enforced that policy or?
Well, let me just say it this way. The mayor's asked for use of the village car. We have 2 vehicles for our administration.
Right.
That the employees up in administration, employees in other departments come and use these vehicles so they're not using the personal vehicle to go from point A to point B. Because we've had an employee using the personal vehicle get into a car crash, not that employee's fault, and we've had consequences from that. And employees, quite honestly, shouldn't be using their own vehicles for village business. They just shouldn't.
For employees.
Correct. We've had 2 vehicles in administration for everybody in administration to use. The vehicle's assigned to the administrator. I don't take it home and I don't use it as a personal car. I only use it when I come to work.
And that I know.
There's another vehicle for administration. The mayor has used that vehicle a lot to attend various functions. Since you had a conversation, since there was a statement made about the use of the village vehicle, I had a conversation with the mayor and he gave me the keys back. I've been holding the keys in my office and it's only been used once by the mayor since that conversation 2 weeks ago. So I'm not exactly sure, if the board says, you want to write a policy that only employees can drive village vehicles, we already have that policy. I have not had too much of an issue of the mayor using the car to go to the mayor's conferences or meetings. But our policy doesn't allow for that either, right? The policy says employees.
Right.
We have a mileage reimbursement policy,
Correct.
right? If somebody reimburses. However, that's also only for employees. So, everything.
If that's for the employees, then why it should apply to the elected member?
Well, it doesn't really,
Doesn't?
right?
So,
And
so we have to be clear, I mean, it's.
elected officials are only governed by 3 policies in the village. That's it, right? And none of them refer to cars, right? Sex harassment policy, policies along those lines, right? So,
So,
I mean, I'm having a tough time trying to be in the middle
I understand that.
of your wants and then the mayor's needs to get from point A to point B.
Yeah, so what, if the board can recommend you, that should be good for you, because I think as a board, none of us wants to use the vehicle, none of us want to reimburse the mileage. That's really not something that we are looking for. And I have another question, if, let's say that person take the car and if he got the parking ticket, who's responsible for that? Can the village is paying or?
No, not even if an employee gets a parking ticket is the village paying.
Okay.
So, we have, that's happened.
Okay.
As some of our members go to other communities and park in inconspicuous vehicles, they've paid the ticket. If an employee gets a red light camera ticket, they're paying it. That's just the way it is. So, we don't take responsibility for that.
Okay. So I think, Mike, what you are trying to do is make it clear that we don't want anything to do with the village car. We don't want to do with anything with the reimbursing as well. So that should be only for the employees, not for the elected member. We just want to enforce that, that's all. If the policy is still there, then, the the clear guidelines from the board is that we don't want anything from that side.
Yeah,
I understand.
Okay.
So, what are we doing?
Next,
It's,
okay.
it's, well, we don't, well, we're just going ahead and we're going to make sure that it stays that way. Only village vehicles will be used by employees of the village.
Oh, then we have to do an ordinance, right? Or change
No.
No.
The policy already exists.
Yeah, but the policy, that policy don't say specific what I guess they want. So
Well, no.
it says
So,
It says employees, it don't state no trustees.
yes, it does, because the trustees aren't employees.
Right, no employees, an elected official is not an employee of the village, they are strictly just an elected official. So therefore, this ordinance or policy stands as it sits then, and we're clear, and it's clear that no elected officials with the cars, that's all.
I think now Doug has a clear, definition. Like-
So that's how it stands, I feel like that's how we've said it now. It doesn't, it only applies to village employees, and we are not a village employee.
Correct.
So we have never really used, any village cars, even when we go to a meeting and we double up, we always take our own cars.
So Doug, you have a
So,
clear direction that.
We don't need an ordinance.
That no village car and no reimbursing of the mileage, period, that's it.
All right, that's all I had really.
Alright,
So that,
Does that-
we're not gonna allow mileage?
Our policies only relate to employees, right? Because quite honestly, no elected officials ever asked or wanted to drive a village vehicle.
Okay, fine.
I mean, we can make a policy that allows elected officials to be reimbursed and compensated for mileage if that's what somebody wants.
no, we don't want that. I don't think that's what we're
None
looking
of the
for.
board members looking
I
for that.
got problems.
Alright,
All right, we're clear.
okay, is that satisfy you, Mike?
You know, Mayor, you did too, thank you. You did great.
Alright, thank you. Alright, Chester, you're next. Oh,
No, after.
wait,
After.
alright,
It was,
what else, Chester?
Is that just,
astound,
Chester, use your mic.
Ms. Chester.
Yes.
Mayor, he wants to
I
talk
want
on
to
this
respond.
issue.
Oh, you,
He wants to talk on this issue, not
on
on
this issue? Okay, go ahead, Mayor.
I think there was a misunderstanding.
Oh, sorry.
I have no objection using village car. I use because I have to attend meetings. I go to mayor's and manager's meeting. Sometime I have to attend, other lot of meetings that are directly village business. And number two, I do not want to use my personal car for village business. That's my car, I own that, and I don't want to use my personal car for village business. How these people, these 6 people, they are retaliatory, they are revengeful, they are mean, they are cheap. But I will not use, and for that, how I will reach to those meetings, they can decide, and they can decide today. I have 4 cars, but I don't want to use my personal car because I have to go to Donald's Grove, Oak Grove, some other places, inspections, all those are village related business. The only thing, they are revengeful. I don't care, I'm not fearful these people. And this village, I'm telling you, this village is not mom's, dad's village, This village belongs to 34,000 residents of Glendale Heights. And what has been done, these are people, they have their families working they are on the payroll, village payroll. They don't talk about that. They get business for their relatives, they don't talk about these 6 people. Sorry to say, Ms. Schroeder, Trustees, District 5, her brother, her son, he is running a body shop. And he applied, her son applied for permit to run some other rented car, rented truck business. That permit was denied by many times. But they are still running that business. And they are running because the rules of regulation of this village do not apply to trustee. And trustees say they run the business. They are not running the business, they are messing up. It's trash. So they should apply same rules to themselves. They don't. I have seen trustee coming to village, going to different office directors, other managers' office, and wasting time. Their time, they're wasting my employees' time. That time should be consumed to serve the resident, not to serve, these trustees who go over there unwanted, without need, and they talk bad about, I don't want to say who, but they do. That's on the record. They don't apply any rule on themselves. That's the only mayor, the mayor who's working for the best interest of resident, best interest of my village hall. And these people, I promise, I'm not, one lady mentioned, Tika, that you are a good fighter. I'm fighting for my resident. I'm not fighting for my personal business. I belong to this village. People gave vote and they elected me. And I'm proud of that, I stopped a lot of things, I passed, nepotism ordinance. So we elected official cannot now hire our relatives. That's a good thing.
We're talking about the cars though, now we're not talking.
Ma'am, it's common stuff is related, what you are doing now, you got angry, because you came in there.
Oh.
Your personality as a trustee, you came, I have respect for you, but you never brought, that a trustee's relative is running business without permit. The permit was denied. And no trustee is talking about that, It's shame on all these 6 people, Shame, exactly. Yes,
Mayor.
Yeah, please, okay. Duxley, please investigate this process, this thing, that who's running village, without permit, Trustee Schroeder's son, investigate, I need report, requesting, Mike Rodover, and also chief, any business which required, permit from the village is going on without permit, I want investigation and I want to take action as a mayor, I am not fearful, I'm not afraid of these 6 people. They don't run the business, we run business as a team. These, my employee of village, they run the business. They are here as a legislative body, but rules, regulations should apply to these people too, And I will keep going to my village business to wherever my village requirement wants, I will go, They cannot stop me. They can stop, don't use car. I will not use car. But I have to go. I will get Uber. Village has to pay that. I don't mind. That is village business. I can use Uber. I'm not going to use my personal car. And they cannot stop village business. Village business is village business. Okay, as I mentioned, someone, okay, door key, the next is my access, We have, Mr. Flint, I instructed you to get door keys from these people. These 6 trustees, they are not village employee, full-time employee or regular employee. They are part-time, even less than part-time. They come 2 times in a meeting in a month. And I want that they should not use, it's not their personal property. They should apply the same rule as they are talking about car. Door keys do not belong to them. They should return,
I asked each one of them for their key cards and access. They told me no, I wasn't gonna fight them for it.
I have a lot of respect. You mentioned this thing, but I want to proceed, Talk with, Mr. Pete.
You wanna deny the elected officials access to their offices?
No. When they come, they should call you, your office. Like,
What if I'm not here?
someone will be here.
No, what if it's a Saturday?
Or a Sunday, or after 7.
They don't need to come on Sunday, Saturday.
Mr. Coker, when you
Let
turn
me
your
speak.
key
Let me
in,
speak.
turn your key in, we'll turn ours in.
Listen.
Hit the
You have
gravel, I
problem.
wanna get out of here.
You have problem. Now it's on you, and you are talking, Why don't you return key, What's the problem with that? Why you come on and waste time, You
I'm
have
not
to
wasting
talk
time.
anytime.
You're wasting, I wanna get out of here.
That's
People
good.
wanna get out
That's
of
good.
here.
Get your coffee. We don't need you. President don't
We don't need you either.
Yes.
Aye.
You guys,
Yeah.
Get your coffee.
can we stay on topic?
To adjourn.
Hit the,
Yeah, hit
Hit it.
Yeah, hit it.
I think Chester still has to say something.
Was there a motion on the floor, though? I thought I heard a motion.
No, I think Chester still has to say
no,
something.
I'll save it for next time, Mike. I'll talk to you later.
Aye.
They will talk with each other, conspire with each other. Go ahead.
I just have a quick.
I damn care, you know.
Oh, that,
Mr. Flynn, I mean,
You guys, hold on one
this
second.
is the excess.
Adjourn.
I have 1 second. The clerk is telling me that there was a motion to adjourn. So that is on the floor right now.
Okay.
So unless if there's a second, then we need to proceed.
Second.
All right, so there is a second on the floor.
Roll call vote.
No, you don't need a roll call. It could be a voice.
All in favor?
A voice vote. But that's in favor unless that motion's been withdrawn. I thought I heard it. I just wanted to.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion,
Board is-
board is adjourned.